Good morning, students. Next one, we are going to discuss about the chromosome number during the reproduction. Okay. So how many number of chromosome we have? We have the 46 number of chromosome. Okay. Or 23 pairs of chromosome. Out of 23 pair of chromosome, 22 pairs are body chromosome. These body chromosomes is called as the autosomes. Here I am mentioning here autosome and allosome. Autosome is nothing but body chromosomes. Okay, so these 22 pair or 44 body chromosome which determine the characters of the body structure. Okay, so it may be the hand, hair, everything is determined by the body chromosome. And then next one is the allosomes. Allosomes is nothing but the sex chromosome. Okay, example X and Y. Okay, this is the X chromosome. This chromosome which determines the child or offspring is what is it? He is a male or female, which is determined by the sex chromosome. That is called as the allosomes. Okay, normally if you are taking in the all cells in the body are diploid. Okay, already I told you haploid, which is a haploid cells. Sex cells is called as the haploid cells. Okay, but if all the body cells are diploid in nature, it is 2n. Okay, in other words, chromosome exists in the pairs. During the reproduction, male and female sex cells combine to form a zygote. This is, we know that. Okay, fertilization. During the reproduction, male and female sex cells that combine to form a zygote. These male and female sex cells are haploid. Normally, male and then female sex cells are haploid in nature, that consisting of a single nucleus. Okay, so during the reproduction, the sperms gives the 23 chromosome and then egg gives the 23 chromosome. Totally, these 23 plus 23 together make 46 chromosomes of the zygote. Okay, so the one chromosome out of 23, one is the sex chromosome, and then here also one is the sex chromosome. Okay, so these sex chromosome that determine the individual or child of female or male. Okay, so totally the child has the 46 chromosome. Okay, so the next one, accumulation of the variation. So what happens here after the reproduction? What happens? The zygote is formed. Okay, the zygote is formed. So what happens? The characters are transmission. Okay, the characters are transmit from one generation to the another generation. Here both the parents, the genes comes from the mother as well as the father. Okay, so what happens during this reproduction? There will be a variation. Okay, the variation occurs during the reproduction. Okay, so whether organism the multiply sexually or asexually. Okay, normally if you are taking the asexual reproduction, okay, in this asexual reproduction it generates little differences among the individuals. Okay, because it is produced from the single parent. But if you are taking the sexual reproduction, okay, normally asexual reproduction means, so the plant or animal that is produced from the single parent. Okay, so there will be no sex involved in this asexual reproduction, so it cannot produces the more differences or more variation. It produces the little differences only. Okay, so these little differences based upon the why it is a minor variation is there happens. It may be the small inaccuracies, okay, during the copying of the DNA that gives the variation. But if you are taking the sexual reproduction, it shows the greater variation. Why it shows the greater variation? Because the 23 pair of chromosomes comes from the mother and then 23 pair of chromosomes comes from the father. Okay, so totally the child get different chromosomes from their different bodies. Okay, that's why it producing the more variation, or it shows the greater variation. Okay, so this sexual reproduction, the hereditary information, that hereditary character is transmitted through the gametes. Okay, it is through the gametes. There will be a different, okay, so different combination of the characters. Okay, the progeny receives that different characters or different combination of the characters. Okay, so this progeny shows the distinct variation from the others. Okay, others. So this variation is accumulate and pass on to the more individual. Now what happens? The parents produced one offspring. These offspring are varied from their parents, and then these variation accumulate, and then this accumulation is passed on to the more individual to next generation. Okay, first parental generation, first generation, second generation. Okay, from the first generation, this variation is transferred to the second generation. Okay, so this variation in an individual may be advantageous or harmful. Okay, so what are all the advantages of the variation? So the organism enable to manage the changes in the environment. If there is any changes, nowadays we know that, so there will be a lot of climatic condition. Nowadays it is a rainy season. We can see that, okay, the lot of differentiation in the environment. Sometimes the it gets hot or it gets warm in nature. Sometimes it is very cold in nature. Okay, so nowadays the environmental condition is totally changed. Okay, sometimes moisture content, and then it will be varied from one time to another time. Okay, so if there is advantages is organism that enable to manage in the changes in the environment. If there is any changes in the environment, the organism can survive. Okay, because it is selected by the nature. But such type of the what is it, variation that leads to the evolution for the new species. But what are the harmful variation? What is the harmful? So the harmful variation do not allow the organism to cope, that means manage. Okay, to manage with the changes in the environment. So some other variation that do not allow the organism to manage the changes in the environment. So what happens, it is for some other organism, not for all other organism. Some other organism there will be no change. Okay, it does not what is it, enable organism or do not allow the organism to changes in the environment. So what happen, finally the organism are eliminated from the environment. So the totally one species is eliminated from this world. Okay, so these are all the harmful variations in the variations. Okay, do you understand that? Accumulation of the variation. Okay students, thank you.